Congress.com, DoritoforCongress.com. He's going to be challenging Gabe Evans for the Republican nomination. Do you think it's well-deserved? Do you think Gabe has not been as conservative as he needs to be and deserves a challenge? Or has Gabe proven that he'll stand with Trump on the things that are important? He can win a swing district. Let's keep him in there and do our best to maintain Republican control of the House of Representatives. Give us a call. Tell us what you think. 303-696-1971. Text us on the Dan Caplis Law text line at 720-819-5115. Coming up after news, we're going to talk about this headline coming from Scripps. Trump administration now threatening $24 million funding cut to Colorado over CDL license violations. Other states have also been warned that they could face funding cuts as part of the Department of Transportation's push to ensure all commercial drivers are properly vetted and licensed. Why this is even an issue to me is shocking. I can't even believe it, right? Like, this should be so common sense that you can understand English and drive on our roads where we take all of our kids and our families and everybody's out there. Some basics like understand the English signs? This is an issue? Seriously? This has gotten so bad under Democrat leadership in states like Colorado and California. We're going to cover that coming up with Hugo Chavez-Rey. But Adam, let's take it to the news. We're almost through. I love this song if we make it through December because it's the darkness that gets you. And we've surpassed that. It's now going to get lighter and lighter and lighter. There's an optimism to that. Speaking of optimistic, he's always optimistic, is Hugo Chavez-Rey live in studio, the Hispanic Patriot podcaster. Hugo, you're running up against Christmas here. What do you got planned tomorrow? You got the family in town?
Well, we got family tonight. Got family tomorrow. Lots of football, basketball, lots of things going on.
Grandchildren?
Grandchildren, great-grandchildren. So,
how many?
We have 2 great-grandchildren. We have 13 grandchildren.
Good for you. Look
not
at that.
all
That's,
here.
that's how we.
Unfortunately, not all here in Colorado, but yeah, we've been blessed.
And Hugo, you are Peruvian.
I am Peruvian by birth.
Yeah.
American by choice.
Tell us about that journey.
Well, my parents moved to the States when I was 7 years old. We moved to Miami. Both my parents worked for an airline at the time, and they got transferred to Miami, and that's how I arrived. And when I arrived, I didn't speak a lick of English, so I had to.
I mean, you're 7. You barely speak any language, but yeah.
Yeah, but I had already basically completed the first grade down in Peru, so I had to start all over. And we didn't have this bilingual education back then. You know,
You were just tossed in the classroom.
We learned
Catch up, Hugo.
We learned by immersion, and I firmly believe in that. 6 months later, I was speaking English. You know, so it's I think it's a disservice.
Well, one, it's expensive.
It's expensive, and it's a disservice. I mean,
Right.
There's no other country that I know of. I mean, when I went down, I did return to Peru for 1 year in my early teens, and I was enrolled in an American high school down there for my 10th grade education. Basically, you know, it was an English-speaking school, so because I was already indoctrinated as speaking English, so it wouldn't have been very good for me to try to go back to a Spanish-speaking.
So did you have to go through the process of becoming a naturalized citizen because you were born in Peru?
Well, yes. When we came, of course, we were issued green cards at the time, so I had a green card until I was 18. You had to wait to apply for citizenship when you turn 18, and immediately I applied, and within a year I did my due diligence for citizenship and took the oath, and I've been a citizen ever since.
Tell me about that moment you took the oath. What did that mean to you?
Well, I mean, I considered myself an American at that point. I remember my mom told us when we arrived here that we came to America for the opportunity, and that we came here to become Americans. That doesn't mean we, forgot about our heritage. We were proud of our heritage. We returned to Peru at least once a year, to visit family. I still have family down there, but we came here to be Americans. Assimilation, basically, which is what's missing, I think, today in a lot of immigrants. Not all, but a lot of them. And I think that's sad, because I think that's what kind of goes against the culture, if you will. You move to a country that gives you everything, the opportunity, the freedom to do what you want, educate yourself, and then you come here and you insult the culture, so to speak, if you're not assimilating properly. And to me, that's one of the detriments that we are seeing nowadays with more modern immigrants, specifically from certain countries. But I think assimilation is key, and we're seeing what's going on in Europe. It's been going on for 2 or 3 decades now, and it's sad to see countries like the UK, France, Germany.
Well, I think bottom line, it's a numbers issue. I think it was Peter Boyles the other day who said words talk and numbers scream. And when, for instance, Europe faces 15 to 30% of some city populations are Islamic, that's a dramatic change.
And more.
That's a big change. And people in Colorado don't get that because we're 1%. We're 1% Islamic here. You get to 30%. You're looking at different laws. You're looking at different values. You're looking at different principles. And progressives, if they were rational, they'd be conservatives. So it's hard to bring rationality into a conversation with a progressive. But these are people that they would never want to live in Islamic countries. Yeah. They're not trying to immigrate to Saudi Arabia or Iran. And yet they're okay with massive numbers of Islamic populations growing in these communities and then expecting that they're not going to change.
Yeah,
I think that's naive.
I have a friend in the UK whom I still communicate with him fairly regularly. And, my last trip to the UK was in 2003. And I think that was kind of at the beginning of the Muslim infiltration, if you will. And I remember we stayed at a hotel down in London, and one night I had to go to a pharmacy because we needed some ibuprofen or whatever it was. And so I walked out of the hotel and asked somebody, where the nearest pharmacy was, and they said, a couple blocks this way and that way. So I started walking, and as I turned right in this one street that they told me, I was struck. I didn't know that I was in England anymore, really? Because the whole block looked like I was in an Arabic country. Yeah. It was like just businesses, Arabic businesses everywhere. Yeah. And it really stuck in my mind. I got to the pharmacy, got what I needed, and kind of went back, But I felt an uneasy feeling, when I was walking in that neighborhood because everybody else looked different than me.
Well, and their values result in different cultures, right?
Exactly.
Like that's what's really important for people to understand is like, it's not just that they look different, it's that they bring with them a religion that sets up a different culture, a different set of values that is incompatible with Western civilization.
Our
it
Constitution
doesn't work. They're totally incompatible. And people will go, well, Jeff, you're xenophobic, you're racist, all that.
Yeah.
And I go, well, I talk to them. I spent 3 days with Palestinian protesters at the DNC. I spent 3 days walking around with them, talking to them. And I have it on video of going like, what is the end goal here? And they tell me Islamic domination.
Exactly.
That's the point. That's why we're here. Our religion is the true religion. Your religion is the wrong one. We win, you lose. And when we win, you're going to be a second-class citizen. Mm-hmm. And we're not going to have any of the LGBTQ stuff. We're not going to have any of the women get to vote stuff. We're not going to have churches. We're not going to have temples. You're going to be a second-class citizen because our religion is true and you either get on board with it or you're not. That doesn't fit with Western civilization and definitely not Berkeley, liberal, San Francisco either. You will be conquered. Yep. Bottom line, you will be conquered. And when you raise these concerns, people go, oh, you're xenophobic. Of course we'll withstand it. We have a constitution. That's what my co-host says.
Have you ever heard of Robert Spencer?
No.
Okay, Robert Spencer is an accomplished author that has written numerous books on the jihadi movement, the jihadi mindset. And it explains very well what the end game is for the jihadists. It's, what you were saying, world domination, and they're planting seeds all over the planet. And for those who push back and want to say, well, you're xenophobic and, anti-Islam, blah, 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 it's not about that. I am for any immigrant who wants to come here and assimilate. They can keep their culture, they can keep their identity, so to speak, but to come here and try to change the country that welcomed you in, to me, is dead wrong. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. It'd be like you invite me over to your house, and then I come in, and I'm supposed to stay there for a few days, as visiting, and I start changing everything in your house. I'd take over your kitchen.
But Hugo, no one's illegal on stolen land. That's what they tell me at these protesters. That, look, the white man came in and he stole this land. We have every right to steal it back from him. Yeah.
Well, I mean, in a sense, that's true. But, war has consequences. And the people that say those kind of things, number one, are not very well educated about what took place over the centuries in this country. And I am among those who say there is no such thing as a Native American. the Indians, if you will, the so-called Native Americans, they came across the Bering Strait into North America, and yes, they were here first, but that doesn't mean they were native here. That there were no natives here. Okay, this was a wilderness, if you will, back in those days.
With no property rights, no ability to even adjudicate that. You just clubbed your opponent and took his land.
Exactly. And for those who claim that the white man, so to speak, is so violent and savage to people, indigenous people, they might want to take a history look at how savage those people are to their own people, or were to their own people. Yeah. So, those arguments are non-existent for me. They just don't hold any water. And so the immigration problem in this country is twofold. Number one, we are not the world's home for everybody that wants to come here. We can't be. In fact, no country can be, okay? We can allow a certain number of immigrants in, and we have a right to assess the kind of people that we want to come here, meaning in the sense of not only educated, but self-sufficient. When we came here, I know that when we came here, we had to show that we were self-sufficient, that we were not going to be on the government dole, so to speak, needing government services to survive. And that should be number one priority for any immigrant. You can't just come here and then take advantage of the taxpayers and expect the government to support you and uphold you. I'm sorry, it sounds callous probably to some people. Well, what about the refugees? Well, okay, let's talk about the refugees. Okay, there are very few that really are refugees, and very few that actually qualify under our own asylum laws. That's the one thing that they're taught. The minute you get to America, claim asylum. Right. Okay? Well, number one, that's improper. The place to claim asylum is at the next country nearest to your country. If you're in a war-torn country or one that's under oppression, you are to go to the next border country next to you and apply for asylum, okay? Not travel all the way up or across the waters to the southern border of the United States and cry asylum. That's not the way it works. But so many people are uneducated about our own laws. And
well, I see it as abusive. I see it as taking advantage of our laws, right? And this is part and parcel with the Democrats' inability to understand where money comes from, because they think they just claim it.
It grows on trees, Jeff.
Right, yeah. But they don't recognize that, for instance, to provide the $356 million to the 40,000 illegal immigrants that came to Denver, they had to take money from hardworking Denverites, and to the point where it put them in a budget deficit, and 170 people lost their jobs.
A heart for those who were duped. In the sense, a heart for those who were duped, in the sense that they were told that all you have to do is get across the border and everything will be provided to you. Okay? That's the lie that the coyotes and the cartels and all these people that traffic these people across the U.S. border tell them ahead of time. And they're charging anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000 per person. Okay. Now you say, well, how do these migrants who basically have no money pay these things? Well, they pay them in other ways. They pay them in trafficking. They pay them in subservient positions that they are put into once they cross the border. I have seen documentaries of farms and plantations, if you will, full of immigrants who are basically indentured servitude because they were brought here and they're held as prisoners until they work off the debt that they owe to the cartel. And some of them will never work it off because they keep adding on to it. So I have a heart for those people who were duped, okay? But at the same time, it's a result of our government, our own government, and in particular in the last administration, the 4 years of horrific non-enforcement and really migration that they themselves created to bring anywhere from 10, 12, 15, 20 million, whatever the number is, illegal immigrants into this country, and for a reason. They have an agenda. People don't understand that either. So yeah, it's a conundrum. But I don't have any kind of respect or tolerance for people who think that we should just allow anybody and everybody in because we're the great United States of America. Well, if we keep doing that, we won't be the great United States of America. We will become a third world country. And
you import third world masses at a certain number, and you start to become a third world country. It's always been a numbers game. That notion of give us your tired, your huddled masses yearning to be freedom, from the Statue of Liberty, the poem at the base of it. To a point. It's always a number, and once you hit too big of a number, it really does start to affect the culture. To that point, safety on our roads. We're talking a headline out of Scripps News. Trump administration now threatening $24 million in funding cut to Colorado over CDL license violations. The Trump administration is threatening to withhold $24 million in federal funds from Colorado, citing what it calls the state's slow response to violations of federal commercial driver's license regulations. U.S. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy said on Monday that a federal audit found roughly 22% of commercial driver's licenses, CDLs, issued to immigrants in Colorado were granted illegally. That's a quarter. A quarter of the truck drivers on your roads were not properly issued their CDLs. You going to go visit grandma this weekend? How do you feel about that? Duffy accused the state of moving too slowly to revoke the licenses. Colorado's governor, Jared Polis, said crossed wires, unquote, caused the problem. He said the state is already working to revoke the licenses and that letters will be sent this week to, quote, CDL holders whose credentials were improperly issued. Great. Thanks for the letter. Duffy argued that improperly licensed foreign drivers threatened public safety and warned that the Department of Transportation could decertify Colorado's entire CDL program if action isn't taken quickly. Every day that goes by is another day unqualified, unvetted foreign truckers are jeopardizing the safety of you and your family, Duffy said in a statement. He's exactly right. He's also warned states like New York, California, Pennsylvania, Minnesota, Texas, and South Dakota of similar problems. Earlier this month, the Department of Transportation also threatened to shut down nearly 3,000 truck driving schools and trainers across the U.S. if they don't comply with federal requirements. Whoa. I mean, Hugo, you've seen the videos. We've seen the heartbreaking videos of these dope truck drivers that, and I say they're dope truck drivers because I know good truck drivers. I know ones like Barney who calls in regularly that take their job very seriously and recognize that what they're operating is a really big vehicle with a lot of weight that could kill a lot of people, so you take it seriously and you protect those around you. If you're showing up to America illegally, unwilling to earn English, and you're going to get a CDL that allows you out on our roads, you've shown already that you're a reckless person. Take away, not only their CDLs, imprison them in my mind. What do you think, Hugo?
Well, the thing that jumps out at me is, of course, our illustrious governor disputing the characterization by the Department of Transportation. He calls it a situation, like you said, of cross wires, and asserting that Colorado has completed its investigation, quote, and is issuing letters to individuals whose licenses were improperly granted. Great, Governor. If it wasn't for the Department of Transportation, would those letters have gone out? And when would those letters have gone out? That's the point. The DMV has caused, they paused issuing or renewing term-limited non-domiciled CDLs. and learner's permits while he completes his audit to ensure compliance.
Isn't that such a stupid term for an illegal immigrant with a truck driving license? A non-domicile truck driver?
Non-domicile, unhoused.
Yeah, so is someone breaking into your house. Is non-domiciled.
Yeah.
Broken into your home.
So, this is just basically another effort, and it's a wider federal pushback to crack down on improperly issued CDLs across the country. It's not just Colorado being singled out, but the fact that we have 22% of the CDLs issued in this state improperly should be ringing alarm bells in everybody's head.
Well, you're from Peru. I don't know how they drive down in Peru. I've been in countries where, this is someone pointed this out. It's really important. Like that dude that just pulled a random U-turn on the middle of the highway, and a family driving gets essentially decapitated by that idiot. That's just kind of how they drive in third world countries. So when I say you import a bunch of people from third world countries, you're gonna get third world culture. Driving is an example of that. They just drive wherever they want.
Have you ever watched this? A show, I don't think it's on anymore, but it used to be a show about roads around the world and truck drivers and some of these horrendous, improperly built and no barrier roads that people would drive in. That's kind of how they drive all over the world, for the most part. Now, the more civilized European countries, they're pretty.
The exception of the Autobahn.
The exception of the Autobahn. Well, on the Autobahn, you won't see commercial driving vehicles on the Autobahn.
Yeah.
But you better not dwell in the left lane. That's all I got to tell you.
Yeah, right. Or do an illegal U-turn on the Autobahn.
But yeah, in answer to your question, that is how they drive in all these third world countries. There are no rules. And when I go to Peru to visit down there, so a lot of times we rent a car, and my wife is like white knuckles the whole time I'm driving through Lima, Peru, because there are no rules. Basically, stop signs are suggestions, and you have people from, say, you have 4 lanes going in one direction, and there's an intersection coming up ahead. The guy from the right lane will turn to that intersection across the other 3 lanes and block traffic, and it's just.
But, I wonder if this is part and parcel what makes first world and third world countries different is the adherence to rule of law. In many ways, right? And in part of that, corruption. So anytime you go to a third world country, it's corruption everywhere. It's like how they survive in many ways, because police aren't paid well enough. I remember we went to go build an orphanage in rural Mexico one time, and we got arrested by federales who were all looking for payouts as well. What separates a first and a third world country in many ways is that commitment to rule of law. And what Democrats have said is, with regards to coming here, you don't need to abide by it. It's like Democrats want to make America a third world country.
Well, yeah, that's what it looks like, and that's what it is. It's a matter of, they want to bring in as many uneducated, independent people as they can, because, in my opinion, the Democrats, which is now basically a Marxist party, basically wants people of that nature to be their voting bloc. And we have the fight going on about, well, should illegals be able to vote? And they're letting them vote in places like L.A. and Washington, D.C. and other places, in local elections, which even that is illegal, should be illegal. Right. But the federal government has no power with regards to local elections. So, but yeah, this is an ongoing thing. I firmly believe that they do have an agenda, that they want as many people in here that they can control by dependency in order to build their voting bloc. And have permanent power.
I think you're exactly right. Join the conversation. Give us a call. The phone line is 303-696-1971. Text us on the Dan Caplis Law text line, 720-819-5115, 6728, texting in. I've had my CDL for 15 years. I still remember going in to take my test and watching the guy next to me take a test that was entirely picture-based with a translator standing there next to him. This has been an issue in Colorado for a couple of decades now, and quite honestly, the problem is the smaller trucking companies, Mexicans in particular, band together and buy multiple trucks that are unsafe and shouldn't even be on the road. They hire their family members to run them, and the next thing you know, they have 5 to 10 trucks all being operated by illegal license holders. They are not the only group that does this. Believe it or not, you also have a large influx of Eastern Europeans, Russians, Ukrainians, etc. Not to mention the ones from India, Africa, and Pakistan, actually. And respectfully, your trucker, Marcus. These drivers cannot read our signs or communicate with the places they are delivering to or picking up from. They cause bottlenecks in the industry because everything has to come to a grinding halt to either get them unloaded or loaded and out of there and simply get them on their way. Yeah, you don't think about all the challenges that they run into with all the other truck drivers out there. Great text message, Marcus. Appreciate that. ILJ texted in, thank God for Duffy. Seems to be doing a great job. I agree. I'm really impressed with Duffy. What do you think, Hugo? You like what Duffy's doing?
I love Secretary Duffy. He is on point. He is targeted in his agenda to clean up the Department of Transportation, which our illustrious Mayor Pete left in shambles.
I think he's going to be the Democrat nominee for president. I think Pete will be.
Mayor Pete?
Mayor Pete. Buttigieg.
God, I hope so.
We'll have to see. It could be a Pete versus J.D. Vance race. Well, join the conversation. Want to hear directly from you. Let's talk Gyrie's, folks. My wife and I have been going to Gyrie's for our home improvement for a while now and thrilled with the personal help we get. Have you ever been to one of those big box stores where you're wandering around? Somebody please help me. And then they kind of know, but they don't really know. And they're definitely never going to come to your house. Well, that's not Gyrie's. Gyrie's actually has personal designers that come to your home. And they bring samples and paint samples and blind samples to help improve the look and feel of your home. They've got an incredible selection of Hunter Douglas custom blinds, shades, and shutters. In fact, we are just working through our house. We're going back to Gyrie's to get some more blinds put in other parts of our house. We've been thrilled. They walked us through everything, help us find the perfect options to enhance the look and functionality of your home. So whether your curtains are clashing or you just want a fresh look, Gyrie's has the solutions for you. Their designers are the experts, and they can help you with everything from window treatments to full room decor. Here's the best part. They offer a personalized in-home consultation. They'll come directly to you. Get the same expert advice in your home that we got in ours. Do yourself a favor. Get started today. And guys, here's a pro tip. Just take your wife to Gyrie's and let her ask thousands of questions. And think and dream. She will love you for it. Believe me. Go to Gyrie's.com, GUIRYS.com, GUIRYS.com. Go see the great people at Gyrie's. You'll be sure to thank me. We'll continue with the Jeff and Bill Show, Denver's news talk leader, 710 KNUS. Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. Headline coming from Scripps News. Trump administration now threatening $24 million in funding cuts to Colorado over CDL license violations. Secretary Duffy saying that somewhere upwards of 22% of all the drivers with CDLs out there in Colorado have gotten their licenses illegally. 22%! That's a quarter! That's 1 in 4 truck drivers shouldn't be driving their trucks in Colorado. And we're all about to take our families everywhere for the holidays. Good night.
What do you want to bet that they find a liberal judge to issue an injunction?
Good night. Well, because we have the best listeners out there, they always call in and help us understand these issues from their perspective better. Steve in Denver, an actual CDL driver, joining us this morning. Steve, thank you for joining the Jeff and Bill Show. Hugo Chavez-Rey filling in for Bill. Good morning.
Good morning, Jeff and Hugo.
Good morning.
So, yeah, it's actually pretty scary. I mean, I don't drive a CDLA. I drive a CDLB. So I'm still big and heavy. I usually roll out at about 23 to 25,000 pounds. Wow. But like example, I drive all over the city, and the biggest culprits that I worry about are the concrete companies and the side dump mixers that are going up to do all that mine work. Because my truck has a speed detection system on the front of it in case you're in cruise control, so it'll automatically slow my truck. I have some of these Class A guys and side dumpers going by me on I-76 doing 80, 82, 83 miles an hour. So,
and with huge weight, I mean, that's not stuff that stops easily.
Yeah, oh yeah, exactly. I mean, the braking distance on a truck that big, fully loaded, would easily be in excess of 500 feet.
Steve, I want to ask you, as someone who is taking their career seriously, follow the rules, cares about the safety not only of yourself but everybody that's around you, dealing with people that have broken the rules in order to make some money, how does that affect your industry?
Well, luckily the company I currently work for we are well paid. Yeah. But you hear about so many other ones that haven't really tried to even attempt to match the cost of living increase. The other concern I would say is, so I worked for a company before that used to deliver to one of these big CDL truck driving schools out in Watkins. And when I was a manager there, our driver would come back talking about the fact that it took him 10 minutes just to find somebody in there that spoke English that he could make a delivery to. So, like you said, Jeff, it has been going on a long time. I got my CDL back in 2010, and I went through the same thing as you. I went in for my test, and sure enough, there was somebody right next to me with a translator with them. How can you read road signs? How can you read the LED warning signs of street sweeping coming up? You know, one-way signs. Granted, one-way signs, there's an arrow, but there's so many times you need to be able to read and comprehend English.
And Steve, I want to ask you too about I-70. I've heard from truck drivers, and I was reading a text message. I don't have my own CDL, to be clear. I was reading a text message from somebody that texted into the studio. But okay. I've heard that the I-70 mountain corridor between Grand Junction and Denver is one of the most difficult corridors in all of America for truck drivers. And the fact that we have a quarter of ours here in Colorado that have not been properly licensed is shocking to me and scary and mind-blowing. I mean, talk to me about that I-70 corridor and how difficult that is.
Oh, yeah. Well, the sheer thing of I-70 is once you get past Denver, you really need to understand how to downshift, how to let your transmission slow your vehicle, what gear you should go into a certain slope at. I mean, if you go into like that one where the guy lost control, and and killed the people underneath the overpass at Youngsfield. If you go into that downgrade at too high of a gear, it's going to be pretty much, you will have to use a runoff to stop your vehicle, because the transmission just will not have, there's too much weight and too much gravity causing the gears not to be able to slow the vehicle. And it's basically like that throughout the entire, all the way through I-70. You know, you'll get high points at fail pass, and you drop down to like, 8,700, and then you go back up to like 9,000, and it's just a constant up and down. So you can't really, you must be 100% paying attention when you're in the mountains.
Hugo, go ahead.
Yeah, I have a question. I've always wondered about the truck driving community. When you stop at well-known truck stops and those type of places where you all congregate, how much of that feeling do you get from your fellow drivers, and do these some of these illegal drivers, so to speak, did they stop at these same places, and what is the atmosphere like about that?
Well, it seems like a lot actually go into, like, you'll see Murphys and Mavericks now that have truck diesel positions, pumps available, and even they don't have them, and you'll see a lot of these guys that, like, when I roll by them, I'm questioning, is this person actually legal? I mean, why is he pulling a 53-foot tractor into a standard gas station? And you can get a vibe, like the TA out at I-70 in Wheat Ridge. You just get a feeling that some people just, they shouldn't be, here. They shouldn't be operating that vehicle.
Do you have an innate ability, so to speak, to spot these types of drivers, or are they more camouflaged, if you will?
They are getting more camouflaged because so I come out of a very large facility in Commerce City. It has 94 bays. And you notice that there are quite a few that some people might speculate as not being legal are, because a lot of Indians did come into our country, like 20 years ago. They got their CDL, some of them start their own corporations. So I'm sure it's a challenge, and that's why one of our drivers goes through a weigh station out near Sterling, and he said that the Highway Patrol is really cracking down up there. They're pulling over like 1 out of every 5 trucks to try and do spot checks and check eligibility.
I'm glad to hear that things are changing. But Steve, fantastic call. Thank you so much for your experience and bringing your analysis. That's Steve from Denver, CDL driver. We'll continue the conversation. Feel free to give us a call at 303-696-1971 or text us on the Dan Caplis Law text line, 720-819-5115. Let's talk advanced hair restoration. How about a simple New Year's resolution, one that even I could achieve? Reverse the clock on hair loss with Advanced Hair's simple one-day FUE treatment. You'll feel more confident and more youthful when you witness your own natural hair growing into those places that have been balding or thinning for years. From Advanced Hair's breakthrough technology to their highly experienced team, there's no one I trust more in hair restoration. Their simple FUE treatment begins to regrow your own natural hair the very next day, and your new hair is backed by the Advanced Hair Guarantee. Simply put, Advanced Hair's exceptional standard of care makes your comfort and your results their top priority. Celebrate this new year with a fuller head of hair and get a free consultation, $250 off and 250 free hair grafts. Call 720-459-HAIR, 720-459-HAIR. Discover what meeting your resolution could look like with the before and after pictures at advancedhair.com. Let's start the new year well, guys. Advancedhair.com. We'll continue with your phone calls and texts. You're listening to the Jeff and Bill Show, Denver's News Talk Leader, 710 KNUS. You know where I learned they get 2 turtle doves from? Adam?
Home Alone?
2 turtle doves. Let's see. This is right here, right? 2 turtle doves. I don't know where the 2. Okay, so 2 turtle doves comes from the sacrifice that Joseph and Mary had to make upon the birth of Jesus. So when you have, it's in Luke chapter 2, that when the womb is opened, there's a special sacrifice according to the law of Moses you have to give, and it's 2 turtle doves. Goes back to our Hebrew roots.
Did not know that.
Yeah, there you go. We're live in studio. It's Hugo Chavez-Rey. Hugo, you're from Peru, but this has got to be the warmest Christmas you've ever had.
Yeah, I was just commenting to my brother who is actually down there in Peru right now visiting for Christmas, and I said I feel like I'm in Miami.
Right. It's not bad. I love it.
77 degrees yesterday.
All right, we're going to continue into the next hour. Lindsay Malaconi is going to join us. She's got a great event coming up in Golden in January. You're not going to want to miss that conversation. Plus, we're going to talk Jeanette Visquera. She's out of ICE jail. You're listening to Jeff and Bill, 710 KNUS.